get ready with me while I talk about, I'm going to show you a couple of really quickly before and after pictures of me losing 96 pounds. And then after that, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about agoraphobia. Okay, agoraphobia. For those that maybe aren't like super familiar with the name, oh, I need an elastic. 1 second. Okay, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term, agoraphobia is when you really struggle or are really afraid with leaving the safety of your home. And it can, like, I think that a lot of things can maybe trigger it, which I'm not a psychologist. I don't know maybe why most people have agoraphobia, but I can tell you from me that it was a little bit of like a trauma of some sort that like triggered it. And for me, I think what happened was, I can get into this story later at another time, because like I'm okay with like sharing my thoughts and feelings on things and not really hiding too much, because I wonder, or I hope that maybe at some point, like I could help another person with, like, if they're struggling with a mental health, like anything. So I can talk more in detail later, but basically like the details of the agoraphobia is, I was in a medical facility. I was not on my own, and I was overdosed by an accident that they made on their end. And okay, so apparently my dog's upset. Sorry, my dog just lost his ever-loving mind. Anyway, I'll keep going. So I was overdosed by an accident by the doctor, and I don't remember a lot of that day, but I wasn't in a hospital. And that entire day, they were trying on their own to like get me out of it, and I don't think they realized how bad it was, and I was like in and out of consciousness. But I do remember, like, I kept like begging for them to take me to the hospital, because in my like out of it brain, even I knew like something was desperately wrong. And like my husband has told me, and my parents, that they would call the facility to like ask to speak to me, and the people who answered the calls would say, oh yeah, hold on just a minute, and put them on hold. And then after like a minute or two, they were hung up on. So my parents and my husband are literally trying to make sure I'm okay, wondering what's going on, and this facility was trying to hide it. Eventually, about 8 to 10 hours later, in the evening, I did get to the hospital via ambulance. Finally, this facility called, and I was okay, obviously. They kept me in the hospital for a little while, but for a little while after this had happened to me, I had aphasia, which is when like you think you're speaking like English or clearly, but it comes out as like gibberish, like to other people, like they're not real words, like they can't actually understand what you're saying. And obviously that went away as well, but it took just a little while. And I was so traumatized by this incident that, you know, it's like PTSD can like come from like anything. Like, it's so different and it's so individual to everyone, like to different people. But for me, it was this weird, crazy incident that, and like the thing that's interesting too is that it's like, as the result of the trauma, I've become afraid to leave my house. But the thing that's crazy to me is what has happened to me has nothing to do with, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, well, why would I want to, like, why would I be afraid to leave if the trauma that happened to me, like, had nothing to do with that, right? Like, I understand that that doesn't make sense, but like other people with PTSD can kind of probably have a similar like story to like something just like a trauma, like not making sense to like what happens to the person afterward. But like after this happened, I just got so scared of everything and everyone. And as the years have gone by, it's like, honestly, it has just gotten worse. And then honestly, of course, and I know this is the case for a lot of people, but COVID just made it worse. Because I'm like, if I leave my house, am I going to catch some sort of disease that's going to kill me? Or like, it just like reaffirmed my, just staying at home, right? Because that's what everyone had to do. And it just felt like, okay, this is what I need to do to be safe. And then as the years, because I mean, it's 2025 now, right? Like, so as the years have gone on, it's just gotten to a point where my husband has to drive my kids everywhere. And he's such a sweetheart and he's so amazing. And so he does it for the most part. I do drive them sometimes, but like for the most part, he does all of the driving. And I don't get out of the house much. And I have, you know, like a huge family and they have a lot of get-togethers and I can't really be there a lot. And that's really hard for me to let them down. And my oldest daughter, who is 19, like, she remembers me as the mom that like went everywhere and did everything and took her places and all of this stuff. And I feel so bad because I feel like my younger kids, my daughter who's now 14 and my 11 and my son who's turning 12 really soon, like my oldest, Kate, got to experience a mom who like would go places and like explore and have fun. And then now with my other two littles, like they might only remember the mom who was afraid all the time. And that is still something that gives me so much guilt and breaks my heart all the time. And even like going on vacation is really hard for me. It's just like a struggle, you guys. And I know that in my last video, I stressed, like, if you guys need help or like with your weight, underweight, overweight, all that stuff, like I was encouraging everyone, like saying, like, go get help. If you need it, like get help. And I know that probably with this agoraphobia, I need to get help. And it's hard. It's really hard. Like, this is stupid, but it's like, well, if I don't ever want to leave my house, how am I going to get to therapy? Like, it's just this battle. It's just this battle. And I'm sure there's some people out there like you that can relate. And I hope a lot of you are just watching this video, like baffled, like, why is she doing this? And when you ask, like, okay, why is she doing this? All I really can say is, I don't know. I just feel like if I leave the house, something really bad is going to happen. Like either something really bad is going to happen to myself or to one of my kids. And it's like, I just cannot control the fear and the anxiety. And I honestly just hope that like one day there will come a time where I will be able to either say I'm going to therapy or just kind of like do exposure therapy to like help me get out of the house more. Because I don't want my world to be as small as it is, as far as just sitting at home a lot, texting my family, having like, you know what I mean? Like using social media or text messaging as a form of like staying in contact with people. And I don't know if anyone has any ideas or like tips or anything that they have done to help them with their agoraphobia, like please share. Because like I said, I don't want this to be my life forever. And I feel like my kids deserve more and my husband deserves more. And like the guilt that I have over that is like overwhelming. And it's like this stupid like incident when I freaking thought I was gonna die has like changed my whole life. And I don't want that to be my whole life. And it scares me and it makes me like really, really sad. And I just don't know, you guys, like, I just don't want to be this way forever. I miss like outings. I miss going places on vacation, and we do go on vacation a little bit, but like vacations are so hard for me. Like they are so freaking hard for me that like after when we get home, I literally need like months to recuperate from it, from how difficult it was. Like last year in May, so in May of 24, my husband and I took the kids to Hawaii, and it was like this big trip, and we, of course, we were all so excited for it, but like when I came home, I mean, like literally, I was exhausted, I was afraid, I felt like I was just overtaxed and overspent, and I felt that way for months, like months and months. And so now when we're planning to go places, I just remember how hard that was for me. And it makes it like really scary for me to want to like go through that again, you know? Which is a bummer, and it isn't fair to me, and it isn't fair to my kids. And so it's funny, the more I'm like making these videos and talking about some of the things I struggle with, the more I'm realizing like, okay, all right, Bree, maybe you actually do need a little therapy. And even though I've been through a lot of therapy in my life, I haven't ever talked about like this particular experience with what happened to me. And maybe it's time that I do. Like, maybe it's time that I do, because I don't want to spend the rest of my life so afraid. And that's what this PTSD has done to me. Like, if I could just boil it down to one freaking word, that's all it would be, is anxiety. And I'm tired of it. So I think it's time I find a therapist. Bye.